اینجا رادیو ایرآواست و صدای ما را از اتاوا بر روی موج FM ردیف 89.1 و از سایت اینترنتی chio.fm میشنوید. ایرآواز English edition will begin at 3:45 today and every Sunday on this station.
ای ایران ای مرز پرگوهر، ای خاکت سرچشمه هنر، دور از تو اندیشه بدان، پاینده مانی تو جاودان. ایران ما.
باز آمدم چون عید نو تا قفل زندان بشکنم، وین چرخ مردم خوار را چنگال و دندان بشکنم. مولوی. با سلام و درود خدمت شما شنوندگان گرامی رادیو ایرآوا، نرگس هستم و برنامه امروز 25 مرداد 94 برابر با 16 اوت 2015 رو آغاز می‌کنیم. مسابقات ورزشی پارا پن امریکن که از روز هفته اوت در شهر تورنتو کانادا آغاز شده بود، روز گذشته شنبه 15 اوت به پایان رسید. مسابقات پارا پن امریکن 2015 که مخصوص ورزشکاران توانمند جسمی و ذهنی میباشد، با 1608 ورزشکار از 28 کشور قاره آمریکا در تاریخ این بازی‌ها بی سابقه بود. در بازی‌های پارا پن امریکن 2015 برزیل با 257 مدال اول، کانادا با 168 مدال دوم و آمریکا با 135 مدال به رتبه سوم دست یافتند. مسابقات پارا پن امریکن برای اولین بار در سال 1999 در مکزیکو سیتی برگزار شد. برنامه امروز رو با تقویم تاریخ و نگاهی به مهمترین رویدادهای هفته آغاز می‌کنیم و سپس گفتگوی انگلیسی رادیو ایرآوا با خانم سارا حسنی، دانشجوی دکترا در رشته سیاست رو خواهیم شنید. خانم حسنی که متولد کانادا می باشد، از عموی نادیده خود محمود حسنی که در جریان قتل عام تابستان 67 اعدام شد برایمان خواهد گفت. ابتدا تقویم تاریخ. در روز 25 مرداد سال 1354 فاطمه امینی، اولین زن شهید مجاهد، به دنبال شکنجه‌های ساواک شاه به قتل رسید. فاطمه امینی در شهر مشهد متولد شده بود و از سال 1341 فعالیت‌های سیاسی خود را با تشکیل یک انجمن زنان مترقی به کمک جمعی از همفکرانش آغاز کرد. فاطمه امینی بعد از اتمام تحصیلات دانشگاهی به شغل آموزگاری پرداخت و در همین دوران به تدریج در ارتباط با سازمان مجاهدین خلق ایران قرار گرفت و در سال 1353 به زندگی مخفی روی آورد. فاطمه امینی در 16 اسفند سال 1353 حین اجرای قرار دستگیر گردید و به شکنجهگاه ساواک برده شد. ساواک برای به دست آوردن اطلاعات از او وی را زیر شدیدترین شکنجه‌ها قرار داد، اما فاطمه لب نگشود و تا آخر مقاومت کرد. در 25 مرداد سال 1383 دختر جوان 16 ساله‌ای به نام عاطفه رجبی سهاله، متولد 1366 در مشهد در استان مازندران به دار آویخته شد. عاطفه برای اولین بار در سال 1380 به جرم روابط نامشروع دستگیر گردید و در حالی که 13 سال سن داشت به 100 ضرب شلاق و زندان محکوم شد. عاطفه در دادگاه رژیم تجاوزات مکرر ماموران حکومتی به نام به خود را افشا کرد. گفته می شود مقامات بلندپایه شهر نکا این دختر جوان را مکرراً مورد تجاوز جنسی قرار می‌دادند. رژیم در حالی که عاطفه 16 سال سن بیشتر نداشت، با جعل اسناد او را 22 ساله معرفی کرد. عاطفه 16 ساله توسط قاضی حاج رضایی رئیس دادگستری نکا به جرم جریحه دار کردن عفت عمومی به اعدام محکوم شد. آخوند قاضی حاج رضایی خود تنابدار را به گردن عاطفه رجبی سهاله انداخت و او را در میدان نکا به دار آویخت. در روز 26 مرداد سال 1373 خانم مرضیه بانوی هنر و آواز ایران پس از تحمل 15 سال سختی تحت حاکمیت آخوندها ایران را ترک کرد. مرضیه در فرانسه به دیدار خانم مریم رجوی رئیس جمهور برگزیده شورای ملی مقاومت رفت. این دیدار انعکاس گسترده در رسانه‌های بین‌المللی داشت. بسیاری از رسانه‌ها با عناوینی مثل هزار داستان، کلثوم ایران و الهی موسیقی ایران از او یاد کرده و نوشتند که خواننده افسانه‌ای ایران به مقاومت ایران پیوسته است. مرضیه عضو شورای ملی مقاومت در 21 مهر سال 1389 در فرانسه درگذشت. 28 مرداد سال 1332 سالروز کودتا علیه تنها دولت قانونی و دموکراتیک ایران به رهبری دکتر محمد مصدق است. این کودتا که با طراحی و پول و دخالت مستقیم سرویس‌های خارجی با پشتیبانی آخوندهای مرتجع و به کمک عده‌ای لومپن و چاقوکش علیه دولت قانونی دکتر مصدق صورت گرفت، هدفش به قدرت رساندن شاه بود. توطئه کودتا از مدت‌ها قبل از 28 مرداد زمینه‌چینی شده بود و نخستین عملیات کودتا شب 25 مرداد با شکست روبرو و شاه فراری شد. اما مرحله دوم و نهایی آن در روز 28 مرداد با توزیع $390,000 بین برخی از آخوندها، امرا و افسران ارتش آغاز گردید. این ماموران نخست با ایجاد بلوا و زد و خورد با طرفداران دکتر مصدق در میدان بهارستان کلیه مؤسسات دولتی از جمله رادیو را تحت کنترل خود درآوردند و سپس با حمله به خانه دکتر مصدق حلقه محاصره را تنگتر نموده و به تخریب و غارت خانه‌ای بپرداختند. دولت آمریکا 47 سال بعد از کودتای 28 مرداد از شرکت در کودتا علیه مصدق رسما معذرت‌خواهی کرد، اما این معذرت‌خواهی را به جای اعلام به ملت ایران به رژیم آخوندها اعلام نمود. یک روز پس از کودتای 28 مرداد سال 1332 دکتر مصدق همراه با چند تن از یارانش در خانه‌ای در خیابان کاخ تهران دستگیر و زندانی شد. حکومت کودتا از همان ساعات اولیه تا روزها و حتی ماه‌ها بعد به دستگیری، شکنجه و کشتار آزادیخواهان هواخواه دکتر مصدق می‌پرداخت. در 29 مرداد سال 1357 در یک توطئه شوم سینما رکس آبادان به آتش کشیده شد و صدها تن از مردم در این جنایت زنده سوختند. تلاش خانواده‌های این قربانیان برای شناسایی و مجازات عاملان این جنایت به جایی نرسید. پس از سرنگونی حکومت شاه، ایادی رژیم آخوندها نیز نه تنها مانع افشا و معرفی عاملان این جنایت شدند، بلکه وقتی خانواده‌های قربانیان دست به تحصن زده و خواستار پیگیری ماجرا گردیدند، مورد تعرض و تهدید نیروهای حکومتی و مقامات رژیم قرار گرفتند. اینک توجه شما را به نگاهی به مهمترین رویدادهای هفته جلب می‌کنم. رویدادهای هفته را با خبری از کانادا آغاز می‌کنیم. استیون هارپر رهبر حزب محافظه‌کار کانادا روز یکشنبه گذشته اعلام کرد در تلاش است قانونی را تصویب کند که طبق آن کانادایی‌ها از رفتن به مناطق از جهان که در آن تروریست‌ها حاکمیت دارند منع شوند. آقای هارپر همچنین در اقدام دیگر قول کمک مالی و حمایت از اقلیت‌های مذهبی که تحت اذیت و آزار گروه تروریستی داعش قرار گرفته‌اند داد. هارپر همچنین قول داد 10,000 پناهنده دیگر را طی 4 سال آینده به کانادا بپذیرد. دادگاه محاکمه ماکدافی سناتور پیشین کانادایی اما با توجه بیش از اندازه رسانه‌ها به این موضوع کمپین انتخاباتی فدرال این کشور را چند روزی است که تحت شعاع قرار داده. روز پنجشنبه و جمعه هفته گذشته آقای نایجل رایت رئیس دفتر سابق نخست وزیر هارپر که به عنوان شاهد در دادگاه احضار شده بود اعلام کرد پولی که به ماکدافی برای خروج او از مخمسه فساد مالی داده بود بدون اطلاع نخست وزیر انجام شده است. نخست وزیر هارپر بارها گفته بود که از رد و بدل شدن پول بین ماکدافی و نایجل رایت خبر نداشته است. آقای تامولکر رهبر حزب نیو دموکرات و اپوزیسیون کانادا تعهد داد چنانچه نخست وزیر شود در زیرساخت کشور سرمایه‌گذاری کند و مالیات را برای کاسبکاران کوچک کاهش دهد و برای منافع طبقه متوسط بیشتر کار کند. وی گفت به عنوان نخست وزیر من اقتصاد را رونق خواهم داد. همچنین در هفته گذشته رهبر حزب لیبرال آقای جاستین ترودو قول داد چنانچه نخست وزیر شود $2 بیلیون جهت آموزش و پرورش کودکان بومی کانادا در ایالات و تریتوری‌های این کشور اختصاص خواهد داد. شعار کمپین انتخاباتی ترودو و مولکر تغییر میباشد. خانم الیزابت می رهبر حزب سبزهای کانادا نیز روز 14 اوت از برنامه خود پرده برداری کرد و قول بهبود وضعیت سربازان از جنگ بازگشته را داد. با توجه به تغییراتی که در رابطه با ارائه کارت‌های شناسایی در روز رأیگیری روی داده است، لطفاً به سایت election.ca مراجعه کنید. این لینک در بخش خبر وبسایت رادیو ایرآوا نیز موجود میباشد. به نقل از کمیسیون زنان شورای ملی مقاومت 24 مرداد، باندهای سازمان یافته حکومتی روز چهارشنبه 21 مرداد به روی یک زن کرد 37 ساله به نام افسانه قربانی در شهر بانه در استان کردستان اسید پاشیدند. به گفته این اطلاعیه طی ماه گذشته 5 زن کرد مورد حمله اسید پاشان قرار گرفتند که 4 مورد آن در شهر بوکان در استان آذربایجان غربی بوده است. اسید پاشی بر سر و صورت زنان از مهر 1393 در اصفهان و تهران شروع شد و تاکنون به شهرهای دیگر ایران نیز کشیده شده است. خانم سرناز چیتساز، مسئول کمیسیون زنان شورای ملی مقاومت ایران، عضویت رژیم در نهاد زنان ملل متحد را شرم‌آور خواند و ارگان‌های مدافع حقوق زنان را فراخواند تا در اعتراض به اقدامات سبوانه و ادامه‌دار اسیدپاشی علیه زنان ایران رژیم را مورد مؤاخذه قرار داده و از این نهاد اخراج کنند. در خبر دیگر، نصرالله پژمانفر، عضو کمیسیون فرهنگی مجلس رژیم، از تهیه طرحی جدید علیه زنان ایران گفت که به نام طرح صیانت در مجلس آخوندها برای جریمه هنجار شکنها از طرف نمایندگان مجلس رژیم تهیه شده است. بر اساس این طرح که شامل محیط اداری، عمومی، خیابانها و پارک‌ها می‌شود، ماموران حکومتی زنانی را که بدحجاب می‌نامند می‌توانند جریمه مالی کنند. سایت همبستگی ملی خبر داد در اعتراض به اقدام تلویزیون BBC فارسی، ایرانیان آزادیخواه که خواهان سرنگونی نظام آخوندها هستند تصمیم گرفتند بیانیه‌ای را امضا کرده و برای دولت و پارلمان انگلیس ارسال کنند. از دیگر هموطنان نیز خواسته شده است تا با امضای این بیانیه در این کارزار سیاسی به دفاع از آزادی و حقوق بشر و حمایت از زندانیان سیاسی اقدام کنند. بخش فارسی تلویزیون BBC در تاریخ 20 و 27 ژوئیه 2015 در برنامه به نام پرگار که مقارن با سالگرد قتل عام زندانیان سیاسی تابستان 67 تهیه شده بود، در 2 قسمت به مدت حدود 2 ساعت در میزگیری درباره ساواک با شرکت چند نفر از جمله یکی از دستاندرکاران این سازمان مخوف به نام احمد فراستی که علنا به دفاع از شکنجه و شلاق زدن زندانیان سیاسی شاه پرداخت، برای مشروعیت بخشیدن به شکنجه زندانیان سیاسی در زمان شاه مبادرت ورزید. در این برنامه 2 تن دیگر نیز با نام‌های عرفان قانعی فرد از همکاران محسن رضایی، فرمانده سابق سپاه پاسداران که تاریخ نگار معرفی شد، و سعید شاهسوندی از عوامل رژیم آخوندها نیز شرکت داشتند. احمد فراستی که خود از شکنجهگران ساواک شاه بود، علنا مدعی شد که شلاق زدن شکنجه محسوب نمی‌شود. لازم به ذکر است که در کنار صدها امضای زندانیان سیاسی سابق، نویسندگان، هنرمندان، فعالین سیاسی و حقوق بشری و غیره، تاکنون ده‌ها تن از زندانیان سیاسی که همکنون در زندان‌های مختلف رژیم در اسارت به سر میبرند، با امضای نام خود از این بیانیه حمایت کردند. برای مطالعه بیشتر و شرکت در این کارزار سیاسی لطفاً به سایت همبستگی ملی www.hambastigimeli.com مراجعه بفرمایید. دبیرخانه شورای ملی مقاومت 23 مرداد خبر داد رژیم 32 زندانی را در شهرهای مختلف اعدام کرده است. به غیر از اعدام زندانی سیاسی کرد آقای سیروان نژاوی در 18 مرداد، تعدادی دیگر از زندانیان که بین 20 تا 43 سال سن داشتند در مشهد، اقلید فارس، زندان مرکزی قم، زندان مرکزی رشت، زندان‌های رفسنجان، یزد، زندان مرکزی اصفهان، زندان گوهردشت کرج و زندان مرکزی سنندج طی روزهای 6 تا 21 مرداد اعدام شدند. در بین قربانیان 2 زن به نام‌های فاطمه حدادی، مادر یک دختر 8 ساله، و پریدخت مولایفر، مادر یک فرزند، در زندان‌های گوهردشت و قزلحصار به دار آویخته شدند. همچنین روز شنبه 24 مرداد 7 زندانی که بین 22 تا 68 سال سن دارند در زندان بندرعباس به سلول‌های انفرادی جهت اجرای حکم اعدام منتقل شدند. 2 شهروند افغان نیز در بین این زندانیان هستند. 3 زندانی دیگر نیز به نام‌های اصغر، مجتبی و مرتضی در همین روز در زندان قزلحصار کرج برای اجرای حکم اعدام به سلول‌های انفرادی منتقل شدند. حکم اعدام دکتر محمد علی طاهری با واکنش احمد شهید، گزارشگر ویژه سازمان ملل درباره نقض حقوق بشر در ایران، روبرو شده است. آقای شهید طی فراخوانی 14 اوت از رژیم ایران خواست اعدام آقای طاهری و تمام اعدام‌ها را متوقف کند. آقای طاهری که در سال 1390 به اتهام توهین به مقدسات به 5 سال حبس محکوم شده بود، اینک به اتهام محاربه به مرگ محکوم شده است. روز شنبه 24 مرداد جمعی از مردم اصفهان با حضور گسترده ماموران حکومتی در مقابل دادگستری رژیم در این شهر در اعتراض به حکم اعدام آقای محمد علی طاهری تجمع کردند و خواستار لغو حکم اعدام وی شدند. در همین رابطه ایرانیان آزادیخواه اتاوا روز گذشته شنبه در جریان آکسیون هفتگی خود در مقابل سفارت آمریکا خواهان توقف حکم اعدام آقای طاهری شدند و این اقدام رژیم را محکوم کردند. آنها ضمن حمایت از زندانیان مقاوم، پرستاران، معلمین، کارگران و دانشجویان معترض خواستار آزادی تمامی زندانیان سیاسی شدند. آنها همچنین خواستار لغو محاصره ضد انسانی علیه ساکنان ایرانی کمپ لیبرتی در عراق شدند. امروز یکشنبه نیز در کشورهای مختلف تظاهرات‌هایی در حمایت از محمد علی طاهری برگزار شد. در رابطه با عراق، در حالی که روز جمعه 23 مرداد مردم شهرهای مختلف این کشور در تظاهرات بزرگ خود خواستار اصلاحات سیاسی و مبارزه با فساد مالی و اداری شده بودند، تلویزیون رسمی نوری مالکی، نخست وزیر سابق عراق و معاون رئیس جمهور خلع شده این کشور، اعلام کرد که وی با شمار دیگری از افرادش برای شرکت در کنفرانس مجمع جهانی اهل بیت به تهران رفته است. این در حالی است که شب قبل از آن مالکی در تلویزیون دولتی عراق ظاهر شد و هر گونه برنامه‌ای را برای رفتن به تهران با صدای خودش تکذیب کرد. تظاهر کنندگان حمایت خود را از اصلاحات حیدرعلی‌آبادی برای بازگشایی پرونده‌های فساد ابراز کردند. تلویزیون العربیه 24 مرداد در مورد فرار مالکی به ایران گفت: اخبار اولیه از سفر نوری مالکی به تهران نشان می‌دهد که او از ترس حسابرسی شدن بعد از اصلاحات حیدرعلی‌آبادی نخست وزیر عراق و اینکه منصبش لغو شده و ممکن است قربانی شود به خامنه‌ای پناه برده است. نوری مالکی در طول 8 سال که تمامی نهادهای دولتی را به کنترل خود درآورده و حاکمیت را قبضه کرده بود، با انتقادها و درگیری‌های روبرو شد. حاکمیت او به بهای به هدر رفتن 800 میلیارد دلار تمام شد. به چند خبر اعتراضی توجه بفرمایید. جمع زیادی از مربیان پیش دبستانی و شرکتی برای تعیین تکلیف و رسیدگی به وضعیت استخدامی روز یکشنبه برای سومین بار در مقابل مجلس رژیم تجمع کردند. همچنین جمع کثیری از بازنشستگان فولاد کشور مقابل مجلس رژیم امروز تجمع کردند. آنها خواستار پرداخت حقوق عقب افتاده و هزینه‌های درمانی خود شدند. رفتگران شهرداری مسجد سلیمان، رانندگان تاکسی خطوط شهری زاهدان، کارگاه بخش حفاظت از خطوط لوله شرکت گاز گچساران، کارگران کارخانه قند اصفهان و رانندگان تاکسی جزیره کیش دست به اعتراض زدند. مردم شاهرود نیز اعتراض به نابودی جنگل‌ها و منابع محیط زیست روز پنجشنبه تجمع اعتراضی برگزار کردند. روز شنبه نیز کارگران کارخانه‌های ملارد کاشی سمنان، کارخانه قند فسا، کارخانه فرجام سوله چهارمحال بختیاری و کارخانه سیمان سامان ماهیدشت در اعتراض به پرداخت نشدن حقوق عقب افتاده خود تجمع اعتراضی برگزار کردند. بامداد یکشنبه 25 مرداد نیز 400 تن از کارگران معدن قشلاق واقع در آزاد شهر استان گلستان در اعتراض به پرداخت نشدن حقوق عقب افتاده در برابر ایستگاه این معدن تحصن کردند. روز گذشته نیز دانشجویان و اساتید دانشگاه علوم پزشکی شیراز و سپرده‌گذاران مؤسسه میزان در بجنور تجمعات اعتراضی برگزار کردند. کمیسیون آموزش و پرورش شورای ملی مقاومت که مسئولیت آن با خانم سهیلا صادق میباشد 23 مرداد طی اطلاعیه‌ای اعلام کرد مصطفی ناصری از معاونان وزارت آموزش و پرورش رژیم در گفتگو با خبرگزاری فارس متعلق به سپاه پاسداران 21 مرداد به وجود 1000 معلم در زندان‌ها اذعان کرد. وی که این آمار تکان دهنده را به نقل از سازمان زندان‌ها اعلام می‌کرد، به تعداد زندانیان سیاسی از میان معلمان که در زندان‌ها و سیاه‌چال‌های رژیم هستند اشاره‌ای نکرد. مصطفی ناصری علت زندانی بودن این 1000 معلم را بدهکاری و شکستگی، مالباختگی و غیره عنوان کرد. در همین رابطه در 46مین روز بازداشت اسماعیل عبدی دبیرکل کانون صنفی معلمان تهران، وی با اتهاماتی جدید از جمله تبانی برای اخلال در امنیت کشور و تبلیغ علیه نظام روبرو شده است. وی در تماس با همسرش از کیفرخواستی خبر داده که توسط شعبه دوم بازپرسی سپاه پاسداران علیه او صادر و به دادگاه رژیم در تهران ارسال شده است. اسماعیل عبدی همچنین از ارسال پرونده به شعبه 15 دادگاه تهران به ریاست قاضی صلواتی خبر داده است. 2 قاضی مقیسه و صلواتی رؤسای شعبات 28 و 15 دادگاه رژیم به این پرونده رسیدگی می‌کنند. آژانس بین‌المللی انرژی اتمی طی بیانیه‌ای اعلام کرد رژیم ایران روز شنبه 24 مرداد توضیحات مکتوب و مدارک مربوط به فعالیت‌های اتمی گذشته خود را طبق توافق انجام شده در ماه گذشته تحویل این آژانس داده است. به دنبال انتشار این بیانیه خبرگزاری اسوسییتد پرس 24 مرداد گفت دیپلمات‌های غربی از کشورهای عضو آژانس که با تحقیقات آشنا می‌باشند شک دارند رژیم تهران از ادعای خود که تمامی فعالیت‌های اتمی آن صلح‌آمیز بوده دست بردارد، اگرچه آنچه می‌گوید گویای خلاف آن است. دیپلمات‌ها می‌گویند آژانس در دسامبر می‌تواند نتیجه بررسی این اسناد را گزارش کند، ولی آن ارزیابی بعید است بدون ابهام باشد، زیرا امکان اینکه رژیم ایران تمامی شواهدی که آژانس خواستار آن است را ارائه کند ضعیف است. همچنین بعید می‌باشد که رژیم ایران به آژانس آزادی کامل برای پیگیری سوالات و ابهام ها را بدهد. شبکه جهانی دفاع از حقوق کارتونیست‌ها اعلام کرد که آتنا فرقدانی برنده امسال جایزه شجاعت این سازمان خواهد بود. آتنا به خاطر کاریکاتورش از نمایندگان مجلس رژیم در اعتراض به مصوبه‌های علیه حقوق زنان زندانی میباشد. در خرداد 1394 شعبه 15 دادگاه انقلاب اسلامی رژیم آتنا فرقدانی را با 3 اتهام اجماع و تبانی علیه امنیت ملی، فعالیت تبلیغی علیه نظام و توهین به رهبری، رئیس جمهور، نمایندگان مجلس و ماموران بند 2 الف سپاه در حین بازجویی‌اش به 12 سال و 9 ماه حبس محکوم کرد. وزارت کشور کویت اعلام کرد دستگاه‌های امنیتی این کشور مقادیر زیادی تسلیحات و مهمات را که از عراق قاچاق شده و در نزدیکی مرزهای این کشور مخفی شده بود کشف کرده است. دستگاه‌های امنیتی کویت در همین رابطه 3 نفر که گمان می‌رود وابسته به حزب الله لبنان هستند دستگیر کرده است. منابع دیگری گفتند هسته تروریستی دستگیر شده وابسته به حزب الله هستند که توسط رژیم ایران حمایت می‌شوند. در مواد کشف شده علاوه بر مقادیر زیادی تجهیزات نظامی، 144 کیلوگرم مواد منفجره، 68 قطعه سلاح و 204 بمب دستی نیز وجود داشته است. این بود نگاهی به مهمترین رویدادهای هفته. جهت دسترسی به آرشیو ایرآوا لطفاً به وبسایت رادیو ایرآوا.com مراجعه بفرمایید. به پایان بخش فارسی این هفته رادیو ایرآوا رسیدیم. ازتون بسیار متشکرم که تا این لحظه با ما همراه بودید. در بخش انگلیسی با خانم سارا حسنی، یکی از خانواده‌های قربانیان قتل عام تابستان 67 گفتگو خواهم داشت. لطفاً رادیو ایرآوا رو در سایت‌های اجتماعی توییتر، فیسبوک، یوتیوب، ویمیو، گوگل پلاس، ساوند کلاودز و پینترست دنبال کنید.
گشتم مقیم بزم او، چون لطف دیدم عزم او، گشتم حقیر او تا سوق شیطان بشکنم، تا سوق شیطان بشکنم. سبز بینی غم مخور، روزی دو باغ طاغیان گر سبز بینی غم مخور، چون اسبهای بیخشان در خاک ایران بشکنم. گر پاسبان گوید که هی بر وی بریزم جام می دربان اگر دستم کشد من دست دربان بشکنم من دست دربان بشکنم این شیخ مردم خواه چنگال و دندان بشکنم این شیخ مردم خواه چنگال و دندان بشکنم.
Good afternoon. My name is Narges and this is Radio Irava on CHUO 89.1 FM and CHUO.FM. Today is August 16, 2015 and you're listening to an extended English segment of Radio Irava. The summer of 1988 is truly the darkest times in modern Iranian history. Some 30,000 political prisoners were executed under the direct and written order or Fatwa of Ayatollah Khomeini. The massacre is described as a political purge without precedent in modern Iranian history, both in terms of scope and cover-up. Many of the prisoners were serving their prison terms and many were near the end of their sentences and were supposed to be freed. The massacre of political prisoners lasted a few weeks and their lifeless bodies were left inside unmarked mass graves in different cities and towns. The majority of the victims belonged to the People's Mujahideen Organization of Iran or PMOI or MEK. Number of individuals who belonged to lefties and other groups were also executed. The PMOI exposed this political genocide for the first time in the same year, just a few months after the massacre. Every year the Iranian dissidents around the world commemorate those brave souls, for they were taken from somebody's parents, sister, brother, son, daughter, aunt, uncle, classmate, colleagues or teacher. My guest today is Sara Hasani, whose uncle Mahmoud was executed during 1988 massacre. Sara is a PhD student in politics who studies Middle Eastern resistance and self-sacrifice. Sara is a Canadian of Iranian descent and never met her uncle, but as you will hear, you would agree with me that how much Mahmoud Hassani's life and death has affected his niece's view of the world around her. Sara Hassani, welcome to Radio Irava and thank you for accepting my invitation.
Thank you for having me.
Sara, today we're going to talk about your uncle, one of the 30,000 political prisoners who were executed in the summer of 1988 in Iran, known as 1988 Massacre. Of course, we all know ISIS is known worldwide for the atrocities their members commit in the Middle East, but the atrocities committed by the mullahs in Iran or the first Islamic State in Iran in 1979 are unfortunately consciously ignored. Can you tell us a little about the summer of 1988?
Definitely. The summer of 1988, for those who are familiar with Iranian history, is etched forever in our minds. I myself wasn't alive during the summer of 1988, but I'm well aware of the ramifications it's had both for Iran as a nation and for the psyches of many Iranians within the country and expatriates who are living abroad now. Essentially, the way I would communicate it is a discrete political genocide, the massacre of some 30,000 individuals who were imprisoned at Evin prison, my uncle included amongst them, and who were summarily executed by the Iranian government for political crimes as simple as my uncle's, which was distributing opposition newspapers as a student amidst university students where he was studying.
What was the name of your uncle, Sara, and when was he arrested?
Yeah, my uncle's name, he went by Mas'ud, although his formal name was Mahmoud Hassani, and he was arrested at the age of 21 in Tehran, and again on charges of distributing opposition newspapers.
Do you know exactly when he was executed?
We don't know the exact date of his execution, or at least I'm not aware of the exact date of his execution, but we do know that he was buried at Khavaran, which was a mass grave that was later uncovered by families and witnesses to the crimes committed by the Iranian government. And he was amongst those who were executed during the purge of dissidents by the Iranian government in the summer of '88.
And how his family, his parents, know about his execution? How did they find out?
His parents, actually, unfortunately, his father passed away prior to his execution, about a year before. He was 57 years old and died of a heart attack, presumably from the stress of having had his youngest son imprisoned on grounds of having distributed opposition newspapers and enduring what was then 7 years of his imprisonment and torture and knowledge of his torture. His mother learned of his execution and his family members learned of his execution following the event. He wasn't given due process or any type of court system overseeing his judgment and sentencing, so no one was aware of the fact that this was going on until after it had already taken place and after it was too late for so many.
Was he the only one in your family to be executed, Sara?
He was the only one amongst my immediate relatives to have been executed, but he was not alone. Again, 30,000 people lost their lives, each with their own families, their own cousins, their own nephews, their own nieces, and it's definitely been a stain on many Iranians' personal memories and the rest of their lives.
Exactly, you're right. I mean, it's impossible to find an Iranian these days who haven't been impacted or been hurt by the Iranian regime in some ways. It's just so horrible. It's just unbelievable.
Definitely. In terms of oral history, it's very rare to raise the issue of the 1988 massacres and have an Iranian not have known someone who was imprisoned at that time or who was executed.
So how come you decide to write about your uncle? You said yourself you weren't even born when he was in prison.
Yeah, I wrote about my uncle for a number of reasons, but primarily I wanted to commemorate the 27th anniversary of his execution by the Iranian government, which is a story that, as we've discussed, is rarely touched on by the media or by history books, and one that through my uncle's memory I have a very strong personal connection with. I should admit that not having known him, it's tough to say that I feel any type of personal attachment to his story, but I really truly do. I think that was in large part afforded by my parents and my extended family who carried his memory every day, everywhere that they went. You know, recalling his mannerisms, recalling the way he carried himself with dignity, with humor, with respect. And I feel like it's a necessary memory to bring to life precisely because the voice of these many dissidents has been so silenced for so long.
You say the story of 1988 massacre hasn't been told, but why do you think it's important to know about what happened in summer of 1988, and why did you want to know yourself, and what can one do with this knowledge and this information?
There's several reasons why I want the world to know about both my uncle's story and the story of the rest. The first is out of respect for my uncle's own family. My mother, my father, my grandmother, his sister, his brothers, for whom the loss was truly profound. Mm-hmm. And also out of respect for the other 30,000 lives that were taken alongside my uncle's. In what remains to be the largest and swiftest massacre of political dissidents in modern Iranian history. I think it's important to emphasize this aspect because my uncle's story is, quite frankly, just one story. His belongs to a class, an entire generation of Iranians whose lives were unfortunately abruptly cut short and whose bodies bore what can only be described as the markings of extreme torture, and whose families have been left to deal with this trauma in silence. I think that politically, the Iranian government's extensive work has successfully veiled their genocidal crimes. They've refused to acknowledge it even happened and have avoided any type of international inspection into the result of these executions, whereby an international body would go in and inspect the mass graves that have been brought to light, or count the number of bodies which are in contention. And that's why I think that speaking about these memories, especially remembering them on the anniversary of these crimes, is crucial because we've forsaken it in our national history, and also internationally, it needs to play a more pertinent role in the way we discuss our policies vis-a-vis Iran, in the way we continue to ignore their human rights violations, and their perpetrating of the most heinous crimes against their own people.
Mm-hmm. You know that Canada recognized 1988 massacre as crime against humanity and set September 1st to be the day to remember those who were executed at that time. What more do you think countries like Canada can do to, I don't know, to open people's eyes to this massacre, or to enlighten other people to what happened in that era?
Definitely. I think Canada's decision to recognize and commemorate the anniversary is quite impactful in and of itself. That being said, it's not close to being enough. Unfortunately, we've seen a lack of journalistic attention, both to the state of political prisons inside Iran and to the human rights crimes violating the rights of Iranians on a daily basis, perpetrated by the regime that essentially carry out the same trajectory as that which led us to the massacre in '88. I think that studied attention on the part of international countries on the issue of the 1988 massacre will bring to light more than just a remembering of what took place, but also a more studied emphasis on what is taking place currently inside the country, which we also don't hear about.
And that's unbelievable as well.
Yes, truly unbelievable, and unfortunately a reality for many people.
Sara, in your article named Witness, there's a picture of your uncle. Can you tell us a little bit about that picture, when it was taken and where it was taken?
That picture was taken on a day visit following my grandfather's passing, when my uncle's family requested permission from the prison that he be allowed to visit for his memorial, for my grandfather's memorial. Mm-hmm. And that picture was taken as he was seated alongside close relatives. I don't have too many anecdotes from that day, myself not having been there personally. Right. But I do know a couple of kind of telling moments about his stay.
Sure.
Maybe I can share those with you.
Of course.
So I know that during the time when Iranians gather, they tend to share sweets and lots of food, and I think that especially on the occasion of a memorial such as this one, there would have been lots of offerings made to him.
And tea.
Yes, and tea. And one of the most telling interactions that I've been told of was that when he was repeatedly offered food, he had to at one point, put his foot down and say, "Sorry, I actually cannot take any more. Please don't insist that I eat." And that's very telling because in the state of his political imprisonment and during his time in prison, he wasn't fed very much. He had suffered the brutalities of torture, and not being able to eat was one of those realities. So when he was offered food, he literally could not stomach to eat it. And I think that that just tells me everything I need to know about his condition physically. Secondly, his family pleaded with him to see if they could extend his visit for a couple more days. And he urged them that he should return to prison, to his cell, because he couldn't handle the day-to-day life, the pace of day-to-day life outside of prison, knowing that he would have to return. It would make it too difficult for him to go back to the state of a political prison, the harsh realities that he lived there, having habituated himself to that climate once leaving the prison and being out of there for too long.
How long was he in prison, Sarah?
He was in prison for a total of 7 years. He served 7 years of a 10-year sentence, and he was later executed in the 7th year of his imprisonment on charges of spreading corruption on earth and committing crimes against the state and God. Before he was arrested, there were routine searches of my grandmother's home. I've heard stories of them having turned it upside down, looking for any documents or anything that would link him to some type of activity, political or otherwise. Routinely harassed by street cops and stories like that, which are familiar to many activists of that era. But he was eventually just picked up for having distributed newspapers.
Sarah, in your article, you compare Evin prison to university. Can you explain to me why? I find it very interesting for the comparison.
Definitely. It's not a very usual comparison, I guess. But I call the prison in which my uncle was kept Evin University in place of Evin prison because despite the incredibly harsh conditions, notorious to the kinds of unimaginable torture that takes place there still till this day, Evin is a political prison where those inside are charged for their ideas. They're charged for their scholarship, they're charged for their political views, and a radicality that I, myself, having spent so many years in academia now, associate with the desire to learn. On another level, I think that Evin is not just a prison for ideas, but it regularly houses a number of forward-thinking scholars, academics, teachers, university students, poets, artists, musicians, journalists, you name it. And it's almost as though, in some ways in Iran, being too interested or too familiar with the humanities is in and of itself a crime. That's why I've called it Evin University. And I feel like also those who've spent time there, and both from his former cellmates as well as from those who've been fortunate enough to leave Evin, I've been told that those kept there do continue to study. They share knowledge with one another, and they hold on to their scholarship as a means of resistance, as a means of staying alive throughout the harsh conditions that they're faced with.
Sarah, I'm sure you know this, but depending who you talk to, the number of executions vary. But why do you think there is such a confusion regarding the numbers of executed in summer of 1988?
The numbers vary for a few reasons. Foremost, I think that they vary because the issue has been so silenced that despite recognition like Canada's, there has yet to be a credible organization, an international body, who has been allowed to question or actually been granted any permission to research the number of those that have been executed. The number I attribute to the massacre myself, that which is an approximation of 30,000, is due in part to the number of families whose politically imprisoned relatives simply disappeared at that time, never to be seen again, combined with the uncovering of the mass graves and the accounts of prisoners who, after they were released from prison, testified to the identities of people that were to be executed. Whatever the exact number is, what I stay confident of is that there's no doubt that political prisoners in the thousands were executed within a few short weeks, months. I also think that there's an element of intimidation involved, mostly because although not all, by no means not all, of the prisoners who were executed were largely members of the Mujahideen. So although there was leftists and progressives of all types who were executed during the 1998 massacres, a large number of them were members of the Mujahideen Khalq organization. Women, men, young and old, activists, professionals, and alike. But unfortunately, given the fact that the Mujahideen have a very firm and active oppositional stance vis-a-vis the leadership in Tehran, they were primarily targeted for execution. And so given the fact that these horrific events have had an affiliation with Mujahideen, I think that there's an element of public intimidation in speaking about one's own memories, because speaking about a relative or a friend that you may have lost during the massacre just gives the government grounds to further persecute you for any type of affiliation you might have had with said person.
Even outside of Iran, we see this kind of discrimination against people who support the Mujahideen Khalq, MEK, or the PMOI. Why do you think in free societies, for example, like Canada and US, there's resistance getting to know the Mujahideen or supporting them or defending them?
You're very right to ask that question. I've asked it myself a number of times, and you're correct to point out that if you're in Iran, speaking to actual numbers can be cause for your arrest. But
or your death, even.
Or your death, exactly, and your execution. We now know that that's the case. And outside Iran, even still, I think, and I've learned this through my experiences as a researcher in this area, that even the slightest affiliation or even interest in the topic of the Mujahideen is imbricated in a whole host of other political scenarios. There are a lot of extra governmental forces that determine these forms of intimidation, but despite the fact that this event was largely shrouded in secrecy, those who study these topics are very familiar with forms of extra governmental intimidation, such as your livelihood, your job, even your safety abroad can be threatened.
And you've had experience in that area?
Certainly, I've had a very personal experience in that area.
Would you share it with us?
I think that perhaps it's best just to know that it is the case. I think that each Iranian living outside of Iran currently has to mediate their identities, political or otherwise, with the state of the country they live in. And Canada being a democracy, I'm luckier than most. And I know that I'm in a place of privilege, having been born in Canada. But I am very familiar with the stories of those who've experienced worse than I have, who not being born in Canada or not having landed immigrancy are subject to routine intimidation. Intimidation that used to, in Ottawa, from my personal knowledge, come directly through the embassy, the Iranian embassy, which was formerly housed there, as well as on university campuses, through various students' groups, through various cultural centers, where the Iranian government has monetary influence and is able to pull some strings in their favor.
Mujahideen Khalq organization, or the PMOI organization, as you know, the women in this organization have broken so many barriers, and yet we don't read or we don't hear about these women in the mainstream media. Do you think if their story is told, it would have an impact on our daily lives? Is it important for people to know about these people, and especially the women?
I think it's of utmost importance. Your question touches rather directly on the research that I myself conducted while I was completing my master's at the University of Ottawa. The People's Mujahideen of Iran, and I'm just trying to phrase this in such a way as to both address your question but also convey the severity of what I found in my research. The People's Mujahideen of Iran have been embroiled in what I can only call a war with the ruling theocrats in Tehran rather consistently for over the past 30 years. First forming their opposition in relationship to the Shah, and following the revolution in 79, opposing the Islamic guardianship, the supreme leader, and its use of interpretation of religion in matters of law. Their positions as political dissidents, especially in a context where the stakes are so high, quite commonly life or death when dealing with the Iranian regime is not an easy task. They're not positioned lightly. And like you mentioned, being tagged with any affiliation with the organization inside Iran is grounds for execution. Similarly, the lengths to which the government has engaged in the manipulating of history textbooks, news broadcasting, which in Iran is under the constitutional direction of the supreme leader, and other outlets for public discussion, has meant that the narrative or the story that's told of the Mujahideen is one that is decidedly concocted by the regime themselves. My research, which closely examined the relevant newsprint, the news media in Farsi and English, which the Iranian government made available to the public, demonstrated the widespread use of dehumanizing rhetoric, which was interestingly expressed in a profoundly gendered way to target members of the Mujahideen on gendered grounds. So specifically in areas that relate to the fact that they have a progressive politics when it comes to rights and the status of women in leadership. I found that the sensationalized narratives that they used, which almost always specifically attack the women in the organization, are first fed to those inside the country. And I should mention probably for your listeners that in and of itself, this is cause for concern because well over 2/3 of Iran's 80 million population is under the age of 30, being born after the revolution and having had little to no knowledge of the MEK outside of government sources. But unfortunately, also as a ramification, and something that my research was able to confirm, was that these narratives were then picked up by Western news sources, reputable outlets as far-reaching as the New York Times, who, in opting to repeat the rhetoric that the regime uses to slander the organization and its members, perpetuates a very narrow or obfuscated view of an organization that, like you've mentioned, has an interestingly kind of progressive agenda and position, especially on the issue of women and women's rights. So I think that the lack of public knowledge surrounding the MEK can be largely attributable to a lack of journalistic rigor in the West that has ignored or has not been invested in learning about political opposition in Iran. And I mean radical political opposition. They've been very heavily invested in learning about reformist movements, but none of those seek to dismantle the inner workings of the government, which is its constitutional Islam.
How can we change this atmosphere, Sarah?
I think it's one of those areas where it calls for public attention and public awareness. I think that the reason why I testified to my uncle's story in the form of what can only be described as a blog post was in light of the fact that I think spreading word, spreading oral histories, spreading the memory of those who've been lost to such crimes will necessitate on the part of journalists as well as public discourse creators to speak to the trials and the plight of political dissidents in Iran and address why we know so little about radical opposition to Tehran. I'm hard-pressed to read about it in the news. We hear about the heroic acts of people fighting back against ISIS almost daily. But we're hard-pressed to find news that speaks about the heroic acts of political dissidents in Iran who put their lives on the line day in and day out, or who are left starving, tortured in a prison somewhere. We don't hear those narratives. They don't become part of the public discussion, and therefore human rights takes a back seat when negotiations such as the one we are currently seeing take place with a country that has had what can only be described as a genocidal record when it comes to political dissidents.
This question may sound a bit ridiculous to you, but I have to ask.
No, of course.
From all of your knowledge and whatever you've heard about your uncle, can you imagine if he was alive today, where would he be and what would be he doing?
Unfortunately, I think that given what I know about my uncle, his fate would have probably ultimately ended up the same. I think that had he been spared execution somehow, he would have immediately gone back to meeting with students, organizing on campus, the same kind of activist inclinations that many university students have, but who in countries like Canada, aren't persecuted for.
Right.
His personality would have remained very much the same and invested, I think, in the same freedom-loving interests that he had. And so, unfortunately, given the state of Iran at the time and still to today, I think that he would have ultimately been persecuted for those inclinations.
Sarah, thank you so much for your time. Hope to read more articles from you in your blog about Iran. Have a nice day.
Thank you so much, and thank you for bringing more attention to this issue.
My pleasure. What you heard was my interview with Sarah Hasani and untold the story of her uncle, one of the 30,000 political prisoners who were executed in the summer of 1988 in Evin and other prisons in Iran. To listen to this interview, please visit radioeirava.com or go to chuo.fm and follow the links to our website.
As the years go on, we reminisce the days long gone, trials that we shared, memories that made us strong. When the night grew darker, evil seemed much stronger, when the shadows stretched forever on. Together, in the end we did overcome. When the night falls, stand tall, hold tight, shine through the night, never darkness overcomes your light. Hold tight, shine through the night. You're the flame that always stands strong. You'll always find the strength to carry on. The sky we stare, where the stars forever dwell. Reminder of heroes to whom we never say farewell. In the darkest moment, when the hearts were broken, every spark of hope was just too far. Stand tall.
And that's it for this edition of Radio ایرآوا, and thank you very much for being with us. Please tune in to ایرآوا next Sunday at 3 p.m. on CHUO 89.1 FM, CHUO.FM or radioirava.com. Till then, goodbye and bedrood, and as always, long live freedom.